Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Shomwa Kimale right here in Abuja. What a day it's been for a lot of Abuja residents, some of them who have had their offices sealed and inability for them to be able to get into their offices. Those who were there and had their offices sealed and marked has been taken over by the Federal Capital Territory authorities led by the Minister of the FCTA some week. We'll be giving you insight into how they've gone about it, what they did, the defaulting persons, institutions, how this has happened, and what the FCTA officials have done. And of course, that takes us to what has happened to the People's Democratic Party, who is also impacted by, don't forget what Mr. Nyesom Wike said yesterday. It does look like he's falling out with his friend, the governor of Oyo State, and it says that Governor Makinde is behind the problem of the PDP, and he says he has pulled out from all reconciliation efforts. So we've been bringing you insight into what is happening in the People's Democratic Party. But before we get into all of that, let's serve you with some of your political roundup stories.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Tajudeen Abbas, has announced the withdrawal of the bill aimed at amending the Electoral Act 2022 to make voting mandatory for all eligible Nigerians. The Speaker, who stated this in a statement signed by his Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Musa Krishi, says the decision followed extensive consultations with stakeholders, adding that the bill, which he co-sponsored with the member representing Basa Jos North Federal Constituency, Daniel Ago, was introduced with the best of intentions. Niger State Governor Umar Bago has insisted that the government is not interested in grabbing lands from locals who have expressed fear over the new Bidda 20-year development plan. The governor was speaking in Bidda during a town hall meeting with stakeholders, including traditional leaders, religious and youth groups, as part of a broader strategy to engage communities on the associated development that will accompany the 20-year plan.
Any land of yours that falls into a beacon for housing, you will be paid compensation. So you can continue to do what you are doing. So nobody has taken away your economic activities.
The presidency says President Bola Tinubu will leave Abuja on Tuesday for Lagos to celebrate, along with other leaders, the 50th anniversary of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. The ECOWAS Golden Jubilee was flagged off in Accra last month. According to the State House press statement, the Lagos event will include reenacting the 1975 declaration at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs in Victoria Island. After the ECOWAS event, the president will commission some projects of the administration and will observe the Eid al-Kabir prayers at the State House Dodan Barracks before returning to Abuja. Former Governor of Kogi State, Mr. Yahaya Bello, has broken silence over some allegations leveled against him by the suspended senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha Akpoti, accusing him of threatening her life. Mr. Bello, in an interview with journalists in Abuja, noted that the matter is already in court and will be willing to testify.
Thank you. When we meet in court, we'll cross the bridge.
As conversations over the 2027 general elections heats up, students in higher institutions across Rivers State are being encouraged to take an active role in politics. This call was made during a colloquium held in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital. Both the student leaders and keynote speakers emphasized that beyond mere rhetoric, students have a crucial role in nation building. The governor of Imo State, Senator Hope Uzodinma, has approved the immediate removal of the State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Cyprian Akolisa, from office. In a statement signed by Commissioner for Information, Public Orientation and Strategy, Mr. Declan Emelumba, the now former commissioner has been directed to hand over all government property under his care to the State Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Justice, immediately.
Thank you so much, everyone. There you have it. You've been served with your political roundup story. So let's tell you what happened today. It's quite a while that I've seen these sort of operations happen. And for those who are very familiar with how they call it repo in America, when you default on paying your vehicle, the payment on your vehicle. You see them coming and taking your vehicle, even on the highway. That's what it looks like today on the streets of Abuja, when officials of the Federal Capital Territory, FCTA, sealed offices, including that of the PDP headquarters called Wadata House, the building house which houses the National Secretariat of the People's Democratic Party in Abuja, over unpaid ground and tenancy rent. The officials of the FCTA and spokesperson to the Minister of the FCT says the plaza owes 7.6 billion as 28 years ground rent. On Wadata Plaza being used as PDP National Secretariat, is being owed as 22 years ground rent, and that is the reason why they have gone ahead to seal the office. From there, it was some kind of embarrassment for the Federal Inland Revenue Service, the FIRS, as the officials of the FCT moved from there to from the PDP headquarters to the FIRS office, and that is what they did to their office, sealed it. It caused some altercations between officials of both government institutions trying to hold their ground, but it appears that the FCT officials have the upper hand in bringing home their point as to the fact that the FIRS is a defaulting institution in its inability to pay ground rent, tenancy and ground rent. Some of the offices into some kind of commotion and confusion when these action of the FCT officials was taking place. From the FIRS office, they didn't stop there. Even banks were affected, as Wike's men didn't hold back in ensuring that every kobo that is being owed to the Federal Capital Territory is being paid back. And so you can see how officials of the FCTA are marking the buildings of some of these institutions, including banks and several other institutions in the FCT. They didn't stop there. They went ahead to seal the office of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP. Their office is located at the Wuse Zone 5 area in the nation's capital, Abuja. Several offices were sealed today, including banks and hotels, by the FCTA officials.
Do it one more. Do it one more round. See. Put this one also.
All right. There you have it. We'll bring you a better analysis of the action of the FCTA today and the administration of the Federal Capital Territory under Mr. Nyesom Wike, the Minister of the FCT. But let's tell you about the internal workings of the People's Democratic Party. A caucus meeting of the party has ended in Abuja. Unfortunately, the caucus meeting couldn't hold in the party's headquarters, but it held at the Bauchi State Government Lodge in Abuja. The meeting, which was earlier scheduled for 7 p.m., was rescheduled following the sealing of the party's national secretariat by the Federal Capital Territory administration. The acting national chairman, after the meeting ended a few minutes ago, says the meeting has now been adjourned till 10 a.m. tomorrow And when he was asked if the PDP neck would still hold, he's silent on the question. The chairman also described the selling of the Wadata Plaza as irresponsible and vows that the party would challenge it. The selling of the PDP headquarters is not the only problem and the headache that the major opposition party is facing. Its internal issues are also a major crisis for it. So yesterday we brought you the story of how the minister of the FCTA, some week had said he is backing out on all reconciliation effort as he's been betrayed, and according to him, he said he's pulled out of all reconciliation effort and blamed the likes of Governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, for some of the issues. Let's get some insight. I'm being joined by one of the chieftains of the party, a former member of the House of Representatives of in the House of Reps, and a member of the PDP. Honorable Tajudeen Yusuf is live for us on the program tonight. Thank you so much, Honorable, for joining us tonight.
It's my pleasure.
How does it come to you that the Wadata office that you report to for party activities is being sealed? Your party owing ground rent? Isn't that embarrassing?
Very, very. And I never knew it would get to this level before it was paid. Been in the news for a while. It was published in the newspaper that certain institutions were owed ground rent, and the PDP secretariat happened to be one of them. And I discovered then initially there was the refutal that on the FCTA document, it is not PDP that owned that building, that was somebody from Kaduna or whatever owns the building. And I think that is where I think the leadership missed it. If the person who owns the document has not paid, the embarrassment is going to go to PDP. My name was published last year for owing ground rent. I was in the US. I immediately made sure I paid not to lose property. We are not there yet as a people as for paying fees. That's the truth. The ground rent is not, I don't think it's 7 billion naira. It's not more than 720 million naira. Ground rent is not huge. For that building, ground rent might be around 100,000 naira a year. Ground rent is not much. It's just that people are not conscious of that responsibility. And when this administration started making a noise about it, I assumed that people will, just like I did. I default. I didn't pay after doing. When it was published last year, I rushed to pay.
Well, how the party, the acting national chairman, Umar Dalmaguma, said they will challenge it.
Fine. If it's going to be challenged, but I think what should be paid. Rather than challenging is wasting time on litigation and what have you.
So is it also coincident that the party is supposed to hold some high-level meetings today and the office is being...
Maybe that's where he's speaking from. You know, at that level, emotions should come in. Maybe that's why he's saying that they will challenge, thinking now. But yes, that doesn't mean we're not like it. We're not happy that the meetings cannot hold. But the truth is that other institutions were sealed today. And I'm aware that these notices were coming out since last year. Our friends outside Abuja who reached out to me to help them, make payment for theirs. So I think it is quite unfortunate that we waited for this. A lot of time Nigerians assume nothing will happen. We are used to receiving such notices, but they were consistent in issuing this notice, publishing these names of defaulters. If you remember, about 2 months ago, it came on air that PDP's secretary had been revoked. If you remember very well. And it was now that the resolution came out, it was ground range, NDIC.
The PDP headquarters is not the same as the Wadata House.
Yes.
The permanent building of the PDP. That building is as old when they started building that headquarters.
The CFO of that particular building carries PDP. But the Wadata House does not carry PDP.
Yes. So I imagine that the notice that came out was about the building.
No, both.
It was both.
Both.
Yeah.
On ground rent. Does
it make your party irresponsible if that is happening? Especially the people who run it, because how can both of the building that the party own as the head office in the nation's capital?
I just told you now, I considered to you here that I equally defaulted until the notice came out. So I might not blame them initially because These are not things that are on your table every day. You are expected to go and make that payment in your own. So there was not this awareness and consciousness until the President Minister came about. You now say, no, we will not take this. So I expect that when that move started, we will not just pay. I could excuse the leadership for not paying before then, but with the noise everywhere, every day, about defaulters losing their plot and what have you, why would you have to wait until get to this level? So I agree that we did not handle it well.
And is it there also that leaders of the party, BOT members, came into town and meetings are supposed to be held and they were embarrassed in that manner?
I'm surprised that the meeting, caucus meeting, is supposed to be held at the Wadata House. Caucus meetings hold at Governor's Lodge. Usually. So I'm surprised that they're even at the Wadata House. Caucus meetings hold, you can say BOT meetings at times hold the Wadata House. But caucus meetings, national caucus meetings hold, and the next meeting...
Who are the caucus members? For the sake of our viewers who are watching.
Governors,
yeah. Former
governors, former presiding officer, former presiding officers, principal of the National Assembly, some BOT members, and what have you. So they call former presidents, former vice presidents, former Senate presidents, because they're the caucus members.
So, but this happened, it appears that the Bauchi State governor has taken the responsibility of being the leader of the party. It does look to me.
He's the chairman of Governors Forum. He's the chairman of Governors Forum. So it should, naturally, with the National Assembly caucus leaders, minority naturally she should be formed on the governors. It's normal. It's not normal.
What do you make of what is happening between two former friends, allies? They were the fulcrum of the G5, which had Jenson Wike in Rivers, Sheyi Makinde in Oyo, Samuel Otom in Benue, Gwanyi in Enugu, and Ekwazu in Abia State. But, the top guys in that clique are now falling out. To the point that the FCTA minister is now calling out his very good friend, Sheyi Makinde, and blaming him, calling him several political names about what is going on. And he said, there is disloyalty and betrayal. And he said he's pulling out of the reconciliation mode.
I am not privy to their discussion about the crisis. But, political contestations are normal. And I want Nigerians to realize that as a main opposition party, it is normal that the ruling party will be jittery about the coercion in PDP. Remember 2015 to 2019, we had the Sheriff McCarthy crisis until around 2018 before it was resolved. Remember in 2019 to 2023, we had the Secondus crisis that was resolved around 2020, late 2021 or 2022 before the convention. What am I trying to say? It is unfortunate that we are beginning to have it as a trend that before, when we are getting close to general election primaries or what have you, these things happen. However, one good thing is that it's good is happening now, that whatever needs to be resolved, you resolve on time, because we cannot afford to go into primaries next year with this kind of crisis. So it is better now.
Do you even have a party now?
Yes, we have a party. If there's no party, why you have the conversation? Who bought that to? Have you ever seen kids coming back from school and throwing stone at a tree that without fruit? If PDP is not existing again, you have this kind of people walk away. People walk away. Even those who are already out pretending to be in
People are walking away now.
Yes.
Your good friend, Dino Malaye, there is a video that's gone viral about him wearing a Babariga with SDP printed on it.
I'm not aware.
You've not seen the video?
I've not seen it. If it's true, fine. It's very, very right to decide where to pitch a political.
You just heard recently that Akwa Ibom governor said they were leaving Delta State, leaving 2020. River State. Looks like is not there, nor there.
It's boiled down to the character of us, the politicians in Nigeria. When PDP was in power, at the time we had 29 states. When APC was being formed, they did not have up to 7 states. So by implication, what happened when PDP was in power is happening to PDP now. If tomorrow PDP is in power, you'll be surprised some of these individuals will return back. So our politics is not yet based on ideology. It's not been ideology campaign. People are looking for soft heavens where I can maximize political fortune. It's not everybody that can stay back like some of us and weather through the storm. However, they'll come back. What I'm telling people is that if they come back this time around, we should not give them the privileges we gave them before. Some left in 2014 and came back and became flag bearers of our party in 2019. It doesn't speak well for those who stay back. So I have a conviction that it is about 2027 election. There are those who feel that the vehicle of PDP might not give them a platform to accelerate their political ambition. While I was in Jos over the weekend, we had the North Central Caucus. And at the caucus meeting before the Congress, President Ghana, being one of the only surviving member of the G34, at that meeting, said something. He said PDP at the formation, that they were led by Solomon La, and they emphasized equity, fairness, and justice. That a lot of persons wanted to run for presidency from the north. They appealed to them, pleaded with them, did everything to make sure president go to the south, so as to bring some sense of fairness and equity. He went further, that we are where we are now because we failed in 2023 to zone to the south. Forget what people say. Some people come here and say they wanted to zone. You'll have the zone. If they zone to southeast, they will have contest. It's a lie from pit of hell. PDP does not zone to a particular geopolitical zone. You zone to north and south. The zones within south will contest for it. The nodes of so, but to appeal to certain people in southeast that I love you, I will have allowed you. And I'm aware these individuals, led by the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, were at the meeting where zoning was going to be considered, and they vehemently opposed it. This is the first time PDP did not zone presidency. In 2019,
since 1999.
2019, we zoned to the north. That's why all those who were in Port Harcourt to contest primary were from the north. So the last time, in 2022, we did not zone, and that is where we find ourselves today. So President Ghana going further, he said, if we want to get back as a party, we should go back to those landmarks that makes us different. We must have the boldness, the sacrifice.
So Honorable, if the likes of Atiku Abubakar and the governor of Bauchi State throw their hat in the ring, does it meet the standard that you are talking about?
No, not at all. There's no business, there's no reason why any of them should have run for 2023 primaries. To have been zoned to the south.
What about 2027?
That is same. That was why in 2019, Buhari was already sitting president. Remember in 2014, a lot of these individuals said Jonathan cannot run in 2015 because he was eating to the term of the north. And they left the party. I went to APC, didn't let the ticket of APC, still supported APC presidential candidate because they believed he represented their philosophy and idea that he should be in the north.
And that was the fight the likes of El Rufai to fought in the APC to
so
say...
when they came in 2019, PDP still zoned to the north in line with our principles. This is what...
And this perhaps the point Nyesom Wike was making.
Yes.
That he said that there is a... Just look at part of the thing that he said. And they worry about how the crisis of the PDP may linger further. Because Mr. Wike has said he will fight on. And his very good friend, Fayoje, said when Wike said he's going to fight, to be worried. Now, this is what Minister Wike said. He said, and I quote, in that meeting, I made it clear to the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, that Makinde was the architect of the PDP problems, pointing out to him that non-adherence to the agreements reached was the bane of the party and that he was the chief culprit of this anomaly. At the end of the meeting, we resolved to bury the hatchet and make progress. Those are the words of Minister Wike. And he said, he went further to say, to my chagrin, Seyi Makinde had connived with Peter Mba of Enugu State to orchestrate the summoning of the meeting of so-called Southeast leader to recommend that if Sunday Ude Okoye was not adopted as National Secretary, they will pull out of the PDP. I have since granted an interview to the effect that the resolution of the Southeast leader cannot hold.
It's the same. Just like marriage, there's no perfect marriage. There's no perfect individual. If you are going to marriage, you are going with your imperfections, some imperfections. So you must have some degree of compromise for things to work. The PDP presently has no reason to be in crisis. What is the issue of contestation? The secretaryship. Some people believe that because Toanya will run for governorship, he should have resigned. And they claim it is in the rules that he should resign. Aya will believe that it's not in the guideline. He was the secretary of the party. So people even allege that the word must was smuggled into one particular guideline to make it look like he must resign. However, the man came up, he wrote a letter, according to him, to the National Working Committee before going, taking a leave of absence before going. And he alluded that there are other plethora of others who have done the same thing. Let's even assume that those who want him out are correct. But his tenure will expire in November. There's early Congress called in August. So why must you make it an issue now? Why do you need?
But why?
You wrote a letter.
Honorable, why does Mr. Wike always feel betrayed? In this case, he feels betrayed by Mr. Seyi Makinde.
There's a relation between both of them. He can answer that. But I want to finish.
No, if you betrayed by Atiku too. If you betrayed by Tambuwa.
I want to.
If you betrayed by, he feels
but
betrayed.
He has never said anything about Tambuwa till date. He has never.
No, he told me on this program about Tambuwa.
That what?
That he betrayed him.
Okay, but I forgot.
No.
I forgot.
People can go and watch my interview with
I forgot, but I've never watched him say anything publicly. I didn't know he said that here. But let me clear something. Anambra governorship nomination letter to INEC was signed by Deputy Chairman. INEC turned it down. Just about a week plus ago, we had to go underground and beg Anyanwu to sign that letter. Is that not enough signal to us that we are on the side of law? That if you go about doing anything without the rightful person signing those documents, because by our constitution, about our rules, it's only the chairman of the party and the secretary that can communicate to INEC. 2, nobody can call National Working Committee without the secretary signing a letter. So why are we running our survey to this? So as per Mr. we can feel betrayed about what I don't have the details of his interaction with some of such persons. I know some, but I don't have details of the interaction. And it's going to be between both of them. However, on PDP matter, I feel that the statement we made a few days ago, to me, is to help the party. Sincerely. Because if they had kept quiet and allow us to progress in error, and somebody just wake up one day and slam, and even allow us to nominate candidates and what have you, and when you think you have victory in certain area, top will come up, what happens in Sanfara?
What do you make, Honorable, if Mr. Wike says, I will fight on?
I have a conviction.
That statement.
I have a conviction that if those things he fail, because he said something when he had the FCTA monthly this thing. He said, I believe one of the major reasons Anyanwu is being vilified and being attacked is that they say he's close to me. That we'll be friends as local government chairman from 1999. And I will not abandon my. If you are fighting my friend because it's my friend, I will defend my friend. By implication, it's the issue of secretaryship. So I have a conviction that the Saraki team would have been allowed to do his job. If you observe in all this, Supreme Court judgment came out. Who was interpreting Supreme Court judgment? It's our National Police Secretary, rolling out different perspective about what you think. The legal advisor, let's say him. Have you heard him say anything? In all this, I feel ideally it should have been referred to the legal advisor. What's your opinion about this? So the last time the governors met and recommend and set up a Saraki committee, I said for the first time, I see a genuine effort to settle this. Unfortunately, events that followed did not, because I believe that the Saraki committee will have reached out to everybody so that we won't have this kind of thing before the NEC meeting. Unfortunately, I think that some people wanted to preempt the committee.
What do you think could happen at the NEC?
At the NEC? And as for the NEC,
just a few days away.
Few days away, if, by my understanding, if the letter calling out for that NEC is not issued by Anyanwu, that NEC will be invalid.
But it doesn't stop members and leaders from meeting.
Definitely, you can't stop people from meeting. It's allowed. But what is the purpose of traveling to Abuja to really meeting? That could be challenger and a decision taken there, because we are supposed to take a decision about.
But the Supreme Court has held that the decision of the party should, by the decision of the party, members of the party should adhere to it and allow the party to decision to be paramount. So in that sense, if the party say we don't want Aya, we want to deal with
there is process to that. We have done it before where party comes and say we don't want you go. That does not mean it's legal. The fact that everybody actually, when we're in power, the president body language does not like you, and so are not to cause trouble. But if somebody goes to court to challenge you, what happens? So when you are in contestation like this, you don't give room. Ideally, if there is no issue and there's pressure and you should go, there won't be any noise. But if he is saying that, I'm going to challenge this, why must you? I am asking the question. We are in May. There's early convention called for August. The tenure expires in November. Why are we struggling to have a secretary for 3-4 months? Why?
Where do you see this going, and how do you think that this can be resolved?
I believe it will be resolved. I just gave you history of 2015 to 2019, 2019 to 2023. But it's so unfortunate that it became a recurring decimal. It means we have not learned anything. However, in the midst of all this, I must tell you something that nobody wakes up one day now and begin to agitate that I want to be a madman. Have you ever raised a position for madness and people are jostling to become a madman? No, it is a good thing that people struggle to get. So it means that there is something about that platform. That is why you find people still jostling, because all this began, this crisis, escalation, the secretaryship and what have you, began to escalate when we were about starting congresses in 26 states. 26 states out of 36 is very important. So for those who have ambition for 2027, the control of the party structure in those states is the reason why everybody began. If you remember very well, at the beginning it was Damagu must go. Damagu must go. All of a sudden, Damagu is not about the issue, it's the secretary that must go. At that time, there were those who lost out a lot, who could not get what they want, and some of them were the architects of some of this crisis here. The idea of taking the party of the people, where certain individuals sit in Abuja and take decisions, is the bane of this party. We return the party to the people. Let congresses come from the people. Let it be participatory. If there's going to be a consensus, in 2022, Kogi had this congress, local government and world congresses. We tried and had about 80 to 90% consensus. We sit down overnight, just like the North Central Congress now. There were people contesting for certain positions. We sat down Friday to 2 a.m. to make sure we reach a compromise. So that has been the practice. If it is not reached, you go to contest, but you do all you can to see if you can leverage of such tendencies. Unfortunately, we allow ego, pride. It must be me. I myself, Nigeria Limited, must be me.
Honorable Tajudeen Yusuf, thank you so much. I'm a former member of the House of Reps and a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party. Thank you. And I wish your party the best.
Thank you very much.
At least for the interest of Nigeria. When opposition thrives, it helps our democracy. Thank you so much.
Some of us are staying back.
Thank you so much. We take a break, everyone. But when we return, Mr. Mojeed Dahiru will be joining me. He's a politics and public affairs analyst. And this FCT ground rent palaver gets our attention. He's weak and his men doing the right thing. We'll be right back, everyone, for staying with us. So about 4,794 property in Abuja supposed to have been taken over by the FCTA due to unpaid ground rent. And that notice had gone out by the FCTA which says that they will commence a physical takeover of 4,794 properties whose land titles were revoked over non-payment of ground rent spanning between 10 and 43 years. I'm being joined by Mr. Mojeed Dahiru, who is a public affairs analyst and a political analyst. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's shocking, isn't it? 10 to 43 years. That's how much ground rent people have owed. That's, it comes into, first of all, revocation of their titles, according to the notice that the FCTA has put out, then the sealing of the property. What do you make of that operation that was carried out today in Abuja?
It's an unprecedented one. But if you also look at the laws, the extant laws that govern land management in the FCT, I think the minister has rights to actually levy ground rent and other charges, as well as impose sanctions when people default on the payment of these levies, these rates, and so on, these taxes. The current minister of the FCT, unlike the previous ones, may have woken up to the fact that a lot of revenue can be generated from some of these mandatory levies, such as ground rent in the FCT. And so he is living up to his responsibilities. And you will agree with me that he's been, going on an aggressive revenue drive to fund some of his projects around the city and to keep public works going. He has severally complained about the fact that the statutory allocation to the FCT is 1% of the federation revenue, and that is grossly inadequate. It's less than 10 billion. And so to fund most of the ambitious projects he's carrying out in the FCT, he needs more revenue. And so he has decided to activate something that was kind of latent in the previous administrations, and which is mandatory enforcement of payment of ground rent. And that's what he seems to be doing. But I believe that given the large number of properties that are affected, including very important government agencies too, such as the FIRS, such as the NAPTIP and others, I believe there could be a window for renegotiation of these payments owed to the government if those that are concerned actually approach the authorities. I believe there should be that window because of the large number of people that are affected. Over 4 ton properties are affected. So I believe that the owners of the building that houses the PDP National Secretariat, as well as others that are affected, can approach the authorities and have a negotiated settlement. But these are levies that are mandated by the law and must be paid. That's one of the ways that the FCT generates revenue to fund its activities. So I believe that something can be done, even despite the sealing up of these properties. I believe something can be done.
FRS, for example, is demanding an apology. They say, look, and if you look on the streets where FRS office is, you discover that they have several offices.
Yeah, several
buildings,
offices.
And they said it paid about 2 million plus in ground rent. And why the 2 offices particularly were being grounded and sealed. And they said that whatever that has gone on today is rascality. And that's not the only government office that was that saw that the sealing of the office. The office of NAPTIP was also, banks were sealed. PDP headquarters was sealed today. And that's perhaps a lot of people thinking, is this political in some sense?
Well, for me, as long as notices have been given before now.
Since March.
Since March, a lot of properties are actually affected.
There were 8,000 on the list that were due for revocation.
A lot of people went back to negotiate and paid up, the outstanding dues. So for those that have not paid, I'm sure those are the ones that are actually affected now. So like the FIRS, if you are affected and you know you have paid, it's a matter of taking your payment records to the authorities to reconcile and be off the hook. So these are issues that can be sorted out by simple reconciliation. But for those that have not paid originally, and I've not heard, for example, the PDP saying that they have paid, or otherwise, I've not had any official statement from the PDP to the effect that, for example, they have paid, just like you are saying about the FIRS now. So what I think should be done is whoever is affected by this sanction, this drastic action, should approach the authorities for negotiated settlement. I think what the FCTA wants is revenue. I don't get interested in taking over anybody's property. So I think I've been negotiated because of the large...
There are allegations against the minister and his officials about taking... there are allegations. There are people who say for political reasons, for personal reasons, there are intentions of grabbing lands from people. And those who have been affected, those are the allegations they have laid.
Yes. If, for instance, you've paid your ground rent up to date, you're not defaulting, and your property is revoked, that is a basis to make such allegations. But if you are owing ground rent arrears for up to 10 years or 43 years, you may not be fair to say that the reason for revocation of the property is because they want to grab it. So for me, pay up first, try to be on the side of the law,
don't give them any reason.
Any reason to, to do that which you believe they want to do. And again, for the PDP secretariat, the PDP does not belong to PDP as a party. It belongs to a private individual. And I am sure that individual by now.
The original PDP property is also affected.
If for similar reasons as this is affected too, the law is the law, really. And for a political party that is supposed to be a vessel for leadership recruitment process, ordinarily they shouldn't be caught wanting when it comes to payment of levies and taxes to the government, especially one that has been a ruling party before. So nobody should be spared if they err against the law when it comes to payment of revenues that are due to the government.
The reference to the law, the law upon which the FCTA is standing is the Land Use Act.
Land Use Act.
And they made reference directly to Section 28, subsection 5A and B, which has some kind of omnibus grounds upon which land can be revoked in a particular territory in the country. And it also gives power to the government.
To the governor or the minister.
Governors in the states and governments in the Federal Capital Territory. And in that sense, it says default in the terms of occupancy. And in all of this, it does look like terms of occupancy upon whatever document you have, maybe several things that you default on.
It is well indicated in CFO, for instance, that ground rent is payable to the government on this property. And the law gives the minister the discretion, or the governor now, the discretion on how to go about getting this payment and levying the necessary sanctions when defaulters are identified. So, yes, like you say, it's a bit omnibus, but what is important is the ground rents are due to government. Notices have been given adequately. It would have been very good for people to pay up or go and negotiate staggered payment plans so as to not be seen to be defaulting, because this is very important for government to generate these revenues in order to fund its activities.
So what Section 28 of the Land Use Act, which was referenced, subsection 5, according to the FCTA, which they stand based for their action, says, quote, the governor may revoke a statutory right of occupancy on the ground of A, breach of the provisions which a certificate of occupancy is by Section 10 of this Act deemed to contain. B, a breach of any term contained in the certificate of occupancy in any special contract made under Section 8. And Section 8 is very clear upon the terms that are being, the contracts which we have entered into with the a definite term that have been entered to, granted subject to the terms of any contract, which may be made by the governor and the owner not being inconsistent with the provisions of this. And those are the grounds upon which the FCTA acted. But could there be a soft landing that could be given?
No, there should be. When it comes to revenue, even when you default in tax payment, there are penalties, but there could be soft landing. There could even be discount, for instance. So I'm saying those that are affected should approach authority. Let them not politicize this in their own interest. Particularly the fact that the PDP secretariat is not owned by the PDP. But that applies, not owned by the PDP. So whoever owns that property should approach authorities for a negotiated settlement. If the lump sum is too big to pay at once, you can give an undertaking as to how you're going to stagger the payment and offset the debt to government. So I don't think it's something to really worry about. When it comes to revenue, it can be solved through a soft landing process, because the ultimate aim for government is to get revenue. It's not to revoke a property and do what with it. It's to get revenue. So this action is to make people know that government is serious when it comes to ground rent revenue, and people must pay. So this is just a simple demonstration of that way by government.
And it's also the fact that if you have entered a contract, live within the contract that you have entered into.
I mean, the ground rent is clearly stated in the CFO.
Yeah.
So
it's the fact that there is a new sheriff in town, isn't it?
Yeah, former ministers may have taken this matter a bit, softly. But he is trying to, he's aggressive about revenue drive, because he has ambitious projects he's carrying out all at the same time. I mean, you see him, he's so restless going about the city. If he's not inaugurating projects, he's flagging off new ones. So he needs all the money in the world.
Let me take you away from the ground rent and those whose property have been grounded to the issues of opposition politics in Nigeria. See what is happening again in the People's Democratic Party. They've gathered in Abuja, hoping that they will be able to advance the interests of the party, settle some of the scores, settle some of the grievances. But it does look like a wildfire The crisis is brewing. Mr. Wike has gone to say, I will fight to the finish.
The PDP is a dying party.
Really?
Yes. You see, the Bible says the wages of sin is death. So the PDP is dying because it committed a mortal sin in 2023. And I cannot say this enough. When the PDP jettisoned zoning in the build-up to the 2023 presidential election, when it was supposed to see this presidential ticket to the south, which was supposed to be its most consistent support base, and opted to pick a northern candidate in the person of Atiku Abubakar, the PDP committed a mortal sin. That sin, the wages of that sin is death. I don't see PDP surviving as a party beyond 2027.
Really? What makes you think so?
Because, you see, when Atiku happened to the PDP, it developed a wicked problem. So it was Atiku's ambition that killed the PDP effectively. So what Wike is simply doing is conducting his final rite of passage. And rightly so. Because the PDP committed a sin, a mortal one. And unfortunately, the party has not repented of that sin.
And Wike is like the undertaker, taking it to the burial ground.
He may not have intended to be an undertaker. But you see, there are causes and effects. Actions come, to every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So the actions of the northern flank of the PDP, led by Atiku Abubakar and others, is the reaction we are seeing by Wike, who heard fast from the southern flank within the party. So these actions and inactions will invariably lead to the final burial of the PDP. And the PDP deserves to be buried as a party because it has indeed proved to be devoid of any form of integrity, morality, and if you ask me, in some instances, common sense. Because common sense dictated that by 2023, the ticket of the party should have gone to the south. No matter what anybody tries to tell you. Some of them didn't see it coming. Some of us warned ahead of the primaries of all parties that whereas the APC has made up its mind to zone to the south, the PDP has not. In fact, the PDP wants to take advantage of what they consider to be the northern demography, which is the largest in our democratic dispensation, to come to power. So they now prioritize vulnerability, the immorality of vulnerability, over the morality of justice, equity, and fairness, which would have seen it zone this ticket to the south. And for someone like Wike, you see, people don't understand what happened in the PDP. When the PDP lost election in 2015, the committee was set up. And the committee's recommendation was that PDP lost 2015 election because they similarly violated zoning in 2015 when they fielded a southern candidate in the person of Goodluck Jonathan when they were supposed to go north. And so the party was practically split into two. A lot of northern elements within the party, led by Atiku Abubakar, left the party. And those that remained in the party sabotaged the party from within because of regional interest. And they were right to have done so at the time too. And so the PDP said, to correct that mistake, to repent of that sin we committed in 2015, in 2019, it has to be the turn of the North still. In the 2019 election, primary election in the PDP, it was an all-northern affair. All the big wigs of the party in the South fight behind their preferred northern aspirants. So Wike, for instance, gave his all to support the emergence of Tambuwal as the presidential flag bearer of PDP in 2019. While Peter Obi, Ekweremadu and others supported Atiku to emerge. It was a very keenly contested election. And Atiku emerged at the end of the day.
Can the PDP resurrect?
You have to repent of your sin before any form of redemption can come to you.
They are emptying the party already.
Because
Delta is gone. Akwa Ibom is going. Rivers seems to have gone. Which party, which state?
The reason for the emptying of the party is simple. In spite of its own calculations, when it failed to zone to the south, a southern president emerged from the APC in the person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You may disagree with his economic policies. You may disagree with his social policies. But one thing you must agree with is his political acumen. His ability to build consensus even among the elites. And so when he emerged, rather than being reached out to, he is reaching out to his southern half of the country while holding on strongly to his northern alliances in a careful balancing act.
So is the PDP orchestrating a Tinubu success in 2020 and APC success in 2027?
It's a natural phenomenon. Look, most of the support base of the PDP is in the south. Majority of the governors are from the south. And they have one of their own in power. They will simply gravitate towards that one of their own, particularly when he's welcoming, when he treats them with dignity and respect.
But this is how I would like us to anchor the fear and the danger in what is happening. Opposition politics. You can't have one party railroad itself into prominence and into governance, and in such a way that every voice of dissent will be shut down and opposition will be killed. It's dangerous for our democracy. The alliances, the merger or the coalition that we're seeing, is there any hope for it?
There's no hope.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
2 reasons. Number one would have expected by now, 2 years to the end of this current 4-year tenure of a southern president, that any coalition that wants to challenge a southern president should be coalescing around a southern aspirant that is popular enough from the south that can be supported from the north. As we speak, Atiku Abubakar is still in this race. Peter Obi is in the race, and others. So there's no clear-cut direction as to where their candidate is going to come from. That is another minus. And that is why you are seeing a steady, the campaign defection from the PDP into the APC. Secondly, and most importantly, what is the alternative in terms of ideological clarity, in terms of pragmatic economic solutions to the problems Nigerians are facing today, in terms of our existential security threats? What have they been able to itemize in the course of opposing the current administration by way of alternative solutions to our problems? It is zero. So it's a double jeopardy for the Nigerian people and democracy, not because of the ruling party, not because of the president, because of the failure of opposition.
It's interesting. Interesting. Mojeed Dahiru is a politics and policy governance advocate and analyst. Thanks so much for your thought tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure having you on. But that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Shunwa Kimale. God bless Nigeria.